play some bhajan, Prabhu.
Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan. Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan. Hatia Chinam Hate Jibera Karan. Hatia Chinam Hate Jibera Karan. Shradhavan Jana hai, Shradhavan Jana hai. Shradhavan Jana hai, Shradhavan Jana hai. Prabhu aagai bhai magiye bhikha. Prabhu aagai bhai magiye bhikha. Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika. Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika. Aparara Shunna Hoy Loho Krishna Naam. Aparara Shunna Hoy Loho Krishna Naam. Krishna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna Samsara Koro Chariyana Cham. Krishna Samsara Koro Chariyana Cham. Divedaya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasam. Divedaya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasam. Shradhavan Jana hai, Shradhavan Jana hai. Shradhavan Jana hai, Shradhavan Jana hai. Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan. Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan. Hatia Chinam Hate Jibera Karan.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to assembled Vaishnavi devotees, and all glories to His Grace Srivas VANACARI Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Gurudev Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much for being here, Prabhuji. So today, dear devotees, we have His Grace Srivas VANACARI who will be speaking to us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, Prabhuji is a mentor to most of us on this Sangha. So it's always blissful to see him and to hear from him as well. So Prabhuji, without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Narayana namaskritya narachaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayat nashtaprayasva badresu nityam bhagavatam sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse 12. It looks like this is the shortest verse in the Bhagavatam. There's only 2 lines. Pravala Vaidurya Mirnala Vachasaha Parishpurat Kundala Moli Malinaha. Pravala Vaidurya Mirnala Vachasaha Parishpurat Kundala Mali Malinaha. Pravala Vaidurya Mirnala Vachasaha Parishpurat Kundala Moli Malinaha. Word or word translation. Pravala, coral. Vaidurya, a special diamond. Mirnala, celestial lotus. Vachasaha, rays. Parishpurat, blooming. Kundala, earrings. Moli, heads. Malina, with garlands. Translation. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wearing earrings. Purport. There are some inhabitants who have attained the liberation of Swarupya, or possessing bodily features like those of the personality of Godhead. The Vaidurya diamond is especially meant for the personality of Godhead. The one who achieves the liberation of bodily equality with the Lord is especially favored with such diamonds on his body. Om Jnana Timaridasya Jnanan Janashalakaya Chakshuram Nalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunastam Vitam Tam Sanjivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashri Tatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tetare Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvese Sashunyavadi Pasachade Satarine. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratize Namaha. Nityanando Vatutendur Vasuda Pranavala Bahar Janavir Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Prada Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Avom Mata Jagat Raktarata Gora Kele Varaha Advaitam Harinadvaita Racharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavataram Itam Sham Advaita Acharya Shraye Panchatattamakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajagraye Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sarato Pango Mama Madhirgatirma Sarvasva Padambu Radha Mandana Mohano Divyadvindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimat Radhagara Simhastanastau Srila Govinda Deva Prishyalibi Sevya Manusmarami Srimam Rasarasarambi Vam Sivata Tatastita Karusan Venu Swanai Gopi Gopinata Sriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Devi Krishnamai Propta Radhika Paradevata Sarvam Lakshmi Mai Sarvam Kanti Samohini Paraha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Translation again. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wearing earrings. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayete grim yakri patamahan vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyapta Yena Characharam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So everyone is welcome to this Srimad Bhagavatam class. And before we proceed to say something which will be beneficial for our progress on the path of bhakti, and maybe may also be beneficial for the audience, we seek the blessings of everyone on the platform so that we can say something relevant to this topic. So this chapter is describing Lord Brahma's good fortune. Mahabhaga. Brahma's good fortune is that he performed great austerities to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Brahma came out of the lotus flower, everywhere was dark. There was no sun, there was no moon, there were no stars, there were no planets. It was just lotus flower and Brahma. And all around him was darkness. And Garbhodakashaya Vishnu was far away down the stem of the lotus. And it is described that there were very heavy waves and wind that were blowing the lotus flower here and there. And it was a bit fearful for Brahma because it was like Brahma is going to fall off from the lotus flower. So he was in such great anxiety, he was trying to find his source. And he said that Brahma ran up and down the lotus flower trying to find out where the lotus flower has come from, the origin of the lotus flower. But Brahma could not find. So eventually he came back and sat on top of the lotus flower. And at that point in time, he heard the word tapa. And with his great intelligence, Brahma understood that the word tapa means that I must perform some austerity. I must perform some tapasya. Without tapasya, I cannot understand my origin. So Brahma immediately began his journey of tapasya. And for 1,000 celestial years, Brahma performed his tapasya. And then at the end of that 1,000 celestial years, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu revealed himself to Brahma. Garbhodakashaya Vishnu did not only reveal himself to Brahma, but Garbhodakashaya Vishnu actually revealed the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, to Brahma. And Brahma could see the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam mentions Kalena Sochabhyam, Kalena Snana Sochabhyam, Samskarais Tapasye Jaya, Sudyanti Danais Tantustya, Dravani Atmadma Vidhaya. This verse is telling us that with the passing of time, land and other material possessions are purified. With bathing, the body is purified. By the performance of samskaras, birth is purified. By the performance of austerities, The senses are purified by worship of the Brahmanas and offering them charity. One's possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified. And by Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified. So Brahma had to perform austerity for 1,000 celestial years in order to purify his senses. Brahma was trying to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma was trying to perceive the Lord, but he wasn't qualified. To take birth in the material world means impurity. To have a material body means impurity. So once a living entity accepts a material body, then it means some impurity is there. And that impurity has to be purified. So therefore, Brahma had to perform 1,000 years of tapasya in Krishna consciousness. It is said that he performed devotional activities, devotional austerities in order to become purified. And once Lord Brahma became purified, then immediately the Lord became visible to him. The Lord appeared within the core of his heart. And not only that, the Lord revealed to Brahma the Vaikuntha lokas, and Brahma could see the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets. He could see the Lord in his beauty, and he could also see the residents of the Vaikuntha planets so beautifully decorated. So this verse is simply describing the vision of Brahma, what Brahma saw in his vision. If we go back 2-3 verses, we see Brahma describing the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets. So that is Brahma's fortune. Brahma is fortunate to be shown the spiritual sky. Brahma is fortunate to see the Lord himself. Brahma is fortunate to see the residents of the spiritual sky. That is his great fortune. Mahabhaga. That is his greatest fortune. So, by this vision, Brahma is revealing to us that there is a spiritual world. Brahma is revealing to us that there is another world beyond this world. Generally, the conditioned soul is so addicted to this material world, he does not think of any other world except this world. And even some people, when you tell them that there is another world beyond this world, they don't believe it. So by this description, Brahma is revealing to us that yes, there is another world beyond this world. As Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, that there is another world beyond the material creation. That is his divine abode. That is where the Supreme Personality of Godhead lives. The Lord does not live in the material world. He lives in the spiritual realm. But from time to time, He descends into the material world. He comes just to reveal himself, just to give us a chance to understand that he exists, because we have no information about the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So out of his kindness, the Lord appears in the material world to reveal his pastimes, to reveal his activities, to give us a chance to know about him. And by knowing about him, we can go back home, back to Godhead. So it is said that the living entities in the spiritual sky, which is being described here, there are different kinds of living entities. According to the type of liberation the living entity aspired for, he is rewarded accordingly. It is said that there are 5 types of liberations that are available for the living entity pursuing perfection. Sayujya Mukti, Samipya Mukti, Shasti Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti. Of course, the devotees, they reject Sayujya Mukti. Sayujya Mukti means merging with the effulgence of the Lord, merging in the spiritual sky, merging in the Brahman Jyoti. That is called Kaivalya. A Kadmatram. They want to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, devotees, they reject that. They don't entertain that. For the other 4 types, Samipya, is it living on the same planet with the Lord? Shasti, having the same wealth with the Lord, same opulence with the Lord. Salokya, living on the same planet with the Lord. Sharupya, having the same bodily forms with the Lord. So in this particular situation, now Brahma is seeing those who have attained this Sarupya Mukti. It is mentioned that there are some inhabitants who have attained the liberation of Sarupya, or possessing bodily features like those of the personality of Godhead. And so, because they have attained this Sarupya Mukti, having the same bodily forms of the Lord, they dress exactly like the Lord. But all of them are servants. Whether one attains Samipya, one attains Shasti, one attains Salokya, one attains Swarupya, but they are all described as Mahapurusha Kinkaraha. They are all great servants of the great personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan. Actually, to enter the spiritual sky, to live on the spiritual planet, and associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a great achievement. It is not very easy for those of us on this side of the creation. It's not easy for us those of us living in the material world. Those who are there with the Lord, they are enjoying like the Lord. They dress like the Lord, and they have the same wonderful experiences like the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that the king, to become the servant of the king, one actually lives like the king. The servants of the king, they live in the palace of the king. The servants of the king, they eat practically the same food the king eats. The servants of the king, they enjoy the same facilities like the king. Especially those who are intimate servants of the king and they are living with the king in the same palace, they enjoy the same facilities like the king. Even though they are not the king, but just by being an intimate servant of the king, they enjoy the same facilities. So therefore, those fortunate souls that have attained the Swarupya Mukti, same bodily features with the Lord, or same opulences with the Lord, or same planet with the Lord, they enjoy the same facilities with the Lord. And so here it is described how they are so nicely dressed. Their appearance is given. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, and they are blooming like lotus flowers. And some are wearing earrings. So this is just a glimpse. Brahma is having a glimpse of the residents of the spiritual sky. Even though they are different from the Supreme Lord, but they are appearing like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Atate kwa gata siddhas chartvaras charu darshanaha vyamochayam niyamanam badva parshai ado bhuvaha. The residents of the spiritual sky, they are all fully liberated. They have very beautiful bodily forms. Their eyes are looking like petals, lotus petals. They are dressed in yellowish garments. They have beautiful long arms. They are decorated with all kinds of ornaments. And they look so dazzling. In another verse, some more description is given. Sarve Padma Palakshaksha Pita Koshaya Vesheshasha Kritina Kutala Ledino Lashat Pushkara Malinaha. Their eyes are just like the petals of lotus flowers. They are dressed in yellow silken garments. They are decorated with garlands of lotuses and wearing very attractive helmets on their heads and shining earrings on their ears. They appear fresh and youthful. So this is a different dimension of existence. In the material world, we are harassed by birth, disease, old age, and death. And these things make life very miserable because we don't want these things, yet they're happening to us. They actually do not allow us to enjoy as much as we want to enjoy. These things are absent in the spiritual sky. The residents of the spiritual sky, they're looking youthful and fresh. They never grow beyond the age of 16. And their bodily features are so beautiful. Their life there is completely different. They are always in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they're enjoying Ananda, constant bliss. That is their experience. So definitely they will glow in effulgence. When one is in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when one is relishing the beauty and sweetness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must glow with great radiance. So the residents of the spiritual sky, they are always glowing. They are so beautiful because they are in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the process of bhakti gives us this opportunity to also experience what these Vaikuntha Loka residents are experiencing. In fact, Krishna consciousness is that opportunity that allows a living entity to experience the spiritual sky. Brahma, by his good fortune, Lord Krishna is revealing to him the spiritual sky. Brahma, by his austerities, he is able to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and now Krishna is revealing to him his origin. And therefore, Brahma received transcendental knowledge from the Lord after his perfection, and that transcendental knowledge is passed down to us in this material world. Tene Brahma Hirdaya Adi Kavaye. Lord Krishna, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, imparted the knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam in a concise form unto Brahma's heart. And Brahma expanded that knowledge and passed it on to Narad Muni. And Narad Muni expanded that knowledge and passed it on to Shlavyasadev. Shlavyasadev expanded that knowledge and passed it on to Madhvacharya. And Madhvacharya expanded the knowledge and passed it on to his disciples. And in this way, this knowledge of the spiritual sky, this knowledge of the residents of the spiritual sky, this knowledge of the experiences the living entities are having in the spiritual sky is made available to us in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So just reading this information, imbibing this information, practicing Krishna consciousness, along with this information, we are also given the chance to experience what is going on in the spiritual sky. Tatrano Deva Parvaro Chatubhujaha Shamano Kaishorya Aruna Bhuje Kashanum Stitao Avastabhya Gadam Savusha Sasau Krita Harangada Charu Kundalo. When Dhruva Maharaj was about to leave this planet, when Dhruva Maharaj had attained perfection and he was ready to leave the material world, all of a sudden, he saw two very beautiful associates on Lord Vishnu in a golden airplane. They had 4 hands and a blackish bodily luster. They were very youthful, and their eyes were just like reddish lotus flowers. They held clubs in their hands, and they were dressed in very attractive garments with helmets and were decorated with beautiful necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. The beauty of the residents of Vishnuloka or Vaikuntha planets are the same like the Lord. Even the weapons they carry is the same like the Lord. The pleasure they experience is coming directly from the Lord. So therefore, going back home is an opportunity for a living entity to experience all this. And Brahma, by his good fortune, is witnessing this, and he's reporting it in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam for you and me to read, understand, and know that there is a place to go, and know that there is a planet, there is an environment which is completely different from where we are now. There is an anti-material planet, and one can actually be happy in that situation. That is actually where we belong. So Brahma is confirming by his vision that yes, there is a spiritual abode and one can go there. In the Gaga Rishi Samhita, it is also mentioned how one time Lord Brahma went to see Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was in deep meditation. And Brahma had to wait for Shiva to come out of his meditation. And when Lord Shiva eventually came out of his meditation, Brahma asked him, "My dear boy, my dear son, what were you meditating upon that you did not even recognize my presence? You didn't realize my presence?" And Lord Shiva smiled and said, "What do you think I was meditating on? I have darshan of Krishna and his cowhead boys in Goloka Vrindavan. In Goloka Vrindavan, there are millions and trillions and zillions of Surabhi cows, all looking sparkling white. And there are millions and trillions of cowhead boys appearing exactly like Krishna. They are dressed like Krishna, and they have flutes, they have bugles, and they are taking care of these cows in the hundreds of thousands of forests in Goloka Vrindavan. And everyone is looking very jolly. Everyone is looking very, very happy and beautiful. That is what I am seeing in my meditation. And I don't feel like opening my eyes. I don't want to have any vision except this vision." And Brahma said, "Oh, wonderful. Can you share that vision with me?" And Lord Shiva said, "All right, I will share that vision with you." And by his mystical potency, he revealed what he saw in Goloka Vrindavan. He revealed it to Brahma. And Brahma was very happy to see that Krishna, as a cowhead boy, is frolicking with his cowhead boys, friends, in many, many forests of Goloka Vrindavan. So, Vaikuntha planets occupied by Lord Narayan and his associates is waiting for us. Goloka Vrindavan, occupied by Lord Krishna and his associates, is also waiting for us. So we have a choice. If we want to go to Goloka Vrindavan, then we should follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings very, very seriously. Lord Chaitanya is teaching Prem Nam. It is said there is Bhuktinam, there is Muktinam, and there is Prem Nam. When we chant the holy name with so many material desires, with so many material goals, that is Bhuktinam. Such chanting will not give us love. It will give us material opulence. Higher than that is Muktinam. When we chant the holy name and we are thinking about liberation, we want to merge, we want to be equal to the Lord, we may achieve some result, but it will not give us prem. But when we chant the holy name without offenses, for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, carefully hearing all the syllables of the holy name, one can develop some prema. And when one develops this prema, he becomes eligible to enter into Loka Vrindavan. When one develops prema, he is no more a resident of this this material world. He becomes a resident of the spiritual sky. So therefore, Brahma is revealing all this to us just to convince us that there is another world different from the material world. There is another experience, another dimension of happiness that the living entities can experience away from this material world. So Brahma, being the head of our sampradaya, his duty is to share with us that spiritual information that will help us to practice Krishna consciousness seriously. So that is the role Brahma is playing by sharing this information of Krishna consciousness with us, by sharing this vision of the spiritual world with us. And so this should throw away our doubts. This should dissipate our doubts, because we are always doubtful whether there is actually a spiritual world. We are always doubtful whether there is actually a supreme being. We are always doubtful whether there's another life separate from the life we are experiencing here. So therefore, Brahma is revealing these things to us to convince us that yes, there is another world different from this world. There are living entities there that are more beautiful, nicely decorated, experiencing a higher standard of life, even more than those in the heavenly planets. And so by this information, Brahma, as the head of our sampradaya, is providing information for us so that we can all become attracted to this spiritual dimension, increase our spiritual activities, and go back home, back to Godhead. That is what Brahma is trying to teach, what Brahma is trying to share with us. And so it is left to us how we want to take this information that Brahma is sharing in this chapter. So, as we all are aware, we are ahead of time. We are 5 hours ahead of GMT. So it's already 9, almost getting to 9:30. So we can't keep the class long. And besides that, I just actually closed for one class, 20 minutes or 30 minutes at most before I switch on to this class. So I want to keep this class short. If there are any comments or questions, they are welcome. Otherwise, we can call it a day.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare-
much for the delivery, of course, as always. And of course, we're sensitive to the time. But I would like to quickly say this, that dear devotees, We have heard from His Grace Srivas VANACARI several times, especially on this platform. And if I'm not mistaken, today is the only day we see His Grace with beautiful, wonderful flower garlands around his neck. And I would like to shed a little bit more light as to why this is the case. Most of us, we love something aromatic. Rose flower is very aromatic. So most of us, we love rose flowers. But before you get the rose flower, there are thorns that you have to get through before you get to the flower. And Srivas VANACARI was seen as thorn on the body or the skin of some of us because he is our big brother. He was representing our Gurudev. And so while he was training some of us, we found the training to be thorns. But through those thorns, we are able to access the flower. And so today happens to be the divine appearance day of His Grace Srivas VANACARI. And so it is very awesome, wonderful that somehow Krishna arranged that he had to speak today on his appearance day. Krishna is perfect. Of course, we all know that. And his ways are perfect. We may not understand initially. So I am, on behalf of Hare Krishna Africa, we're going to request each and everyone to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest, on top of our lungs, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, to express our appreciation, especially those of us who got trained by His Grace Srivas VANACARI, because most of us are here as devotees today because of His Grace Srivas VANACARI. Almost everything I know in devotional service has been taught to me by Srivas VANACARI, of course, through the guidance of our spiritual master, because our spiritual master will spend just a few days, at most a few weeks with us. The rest of the year, we all got trained by His Grace Srivas VANACARI. So please, devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant as loud as possible Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation for Krishna giving us this wonderful Vaishnav, giving us his love and wisdom, bringing us at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Jai. Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna.
Jai कृपा सिंधु जय बचा
Namacha Paritanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Happy to see all of you.
Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So, ladies, thank you all. And with that said, Prabhuji, if you have something to say, you may say, and maybe we bring this to a close because it's quite late your time. But thank you for being here and being thorn on our flesh, because such thorns have led some of us to get closer and closer to the rose lotus flower.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for your prayers. Thank you very much for your well wishes. I think Krishna has his own plans. Srila Prabhupada often says that each and every one of us, we have our own plans, but Krishna has his master plan. And so Krishna's plan is what succeeds, what takes place. So I when this day was fixed for me, we didn't even think about today as my birthday, but somehow it has happened. And many other things are also happening that way. This morning I was asked to lead Guru Puja in the temple in Mayapur. I was wondering why, but I realized later that it's Krishna's arrangement. And then I'm giving class here on the Hare Krishna platform. And of course, I just concluded teaching Srimad Bhagavatam to the Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education. And I think on Sunday, I'm completing a course with the devotees in Mayapur Institute. So I'm looking at all this and think Krishna is just arranging these things for me, for my purification. So I'm very grateful to all the devotees. We are together in one boat, trying to swim across or sail across this ocean of samsara. We need the guidance of exalted souls like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, Kavichandra Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj, Chandramoli Maharaj, Nevamrita Maharaj, and all the wonderful, wonderful servants of Srila Prabhupada. We need their guidance, and together in this wonderful boat that Srila Prabhupada has provided, we shall sail safely back home, back to Godhead, if we just remain in the boat. Sometimes there may be a rocking in the boat. Sometimes we may even have some of our own friends and associates disturbing the boat, screaming, shouting, pushing, but we should just remain in the boat, no matter what. And surely we shall reach the other shore. So long as we remain in Krishna consciousness, guaranteed. Srila Prabhupada gave the guarantee. So long as we chant 16 rounds, we follow the 4 rules and regulations, and we do some service, Srila Prabhupada has enlisted us for going back home, back to Godhead. He has already told Krishna, he told Lord Chaitanya, he told Nityananda Prabhu, these are my people, please deliver all of them. And so together, we are chanting this nectar of Krishna consciousness on a daily basis on this platform. And that is what will take us back home, back to God. And in fact, there was a verse I just discussed with the devotees and at the Vrindavan Institute. And I was talking about mutual dependence or interdependence. That the King Chitraketu depended upon his citizens, and his citizens, they depended upon the king's guidance and protection. So in this way, there was interdependence between the king and the citizens. And so I brought that same topic to the spiritual platform, where Krishna is talking about Bodhayanta Parasparam. Bodhayanta Parasparam in Bhagavad Gita 10:9. Krishna is talking about how the devotees, they have a mutual interest of sharing Krishna Katha, and they are growing out of that. And also in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is also mentioned Parasparam Nukatanam. Parasparam Nukatanam. Nukatayanam. That by sharing Krishna Katha constantly, the devotees are nourished, devotees are growing, devotees are becoming very advanced in Krishna consciousness. So together in this boat, Vishnu Prabhupada has provided, we are all growing, we are nourishing. And if we just maintain things like this, certainly the goal, the destination is Goloka Vrindavan. So this opportunity is given to all of us And we should take advantage of it so that in this life we can return home. Srila Prabhupada says that we have spent millions of lives changing different bodies, different situations, different planets, different races. And what have you? We have done all this. And what is the benefit? Samsara Vatmani, again and again, we are taking birth in the material world. But Prabhupada says that if we can just use this one life, we can just intensify our spiritual life in this one life, guaranteed we will escape. So my message on this day is we should all remain fixed in devotional service, no matter the challenges, no matter the trouble, no matter what it is. We should remain attached to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Krishna and do the little we can do, and guaranteed the next destination, our next life, will be much more glorious than this. Whatever we're experiencing is just a glimpse. Whatever we are experiencing in Krishna consciousness is just a glimpse. There is much more. And so it will remain in this boat, despite the challenges. The spiritual world is our property. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the beautiful, sweet advice and encouragement to all of us. And with that, I believe, devotees, you will agree with me that we probably have to let Prabhuji go and take some rest, so he'll be able to see their lordships in the morning, Mangarati. So, so I think we may ask you all to once again unmute, so we perform our routine ritual. We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation.
Hare Krishna, Sadhu Prabhu.
Salika Prabhu, yes.
I was going to ask one question from His Grace Vanachari before, if you could give me 1 minute.
All right. Well, maybe one question should be enough, not more than one.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, first I would like to express appreciation for His Grace SRIVAS Vanachari for giving us this moment. And I'm very much inspired by what he said in response to the chanting of the holy name, and in appreciation of his appearance there. And it just reminded me about what Gurudev said, which he gave to us, the 4 principles of community building. And it is amazing how, even though we have a father who is the embodiment, the example of a community building, of a cooperative life, that we have a lot of challenges among ourselves. But I'm praying that along with him, just as he is expressing today, that in the spirit in which he is expressing this, that the mercy of the Parampara will ignite our heart in such a way that we can embrace this gift that Gurudev has given to us. We have so much to get from each other. Thank you very much for being who you are, and may Guru and Krishna continue to empower you. Now, my question is, at the beginning of the discourse, you were talking about Lord Brahma's vision. And I had some conference yesterday, and I have an interfaith group that I was speaking to about creation. I wouldn't know if the time will permit you, fine. If not, we can postpone it to another class because I know the subject matter about creation is an elaborate one. But when you talked about when Lord Brahma came, he was confused and he was going around and around the lotus flower. But what caught my attention there is that you said it had the word tapa, and immediately being a wise person. So I was finding that as oxymoron because first he was confused, and then he was an intelligent person to be able to understand that he has to do kappa. So please, could you enlighten me?
Yes, just as I said, once you take birth in the material world, some contamination is there. Though Brahma is considered the most intelligent and the most pious, actually, to become a Brahma, two things are required. You must be the most intelligent and you must be the most pious, because you have to create. And to create, of course, the Lord empowers, but you have to be intelligent enough to receive the empowerment. So Brahma has those two qualities, and that's why he's Brahma. He is very intelligent, and he is the most pious among the living entities, the conditioned souls, and that's why he comes as Brahma. But nevertheless, because Brahma gets a material body, there is some contamination. And because of this contamination, Brahma cannot immediately find his source. Brahma cannot immediately realize the Supreme Lord. That is what it means. Darkness all around, and Brahma cannot find his origin. So he was struggling, trying to find out, where do I come from? Why am I here alone? What is happening in this whole creation? What is this? Where do I belong? What is my source? These were bothering Brahma. But because he's the most intelligent, as soon as he heard the word tapa, he understood that if I don't perform austerity, I cannot understand my source. So immediately he stopped running up and down trying to find his source and entered into devotional meditation. And so that austerity he performed for 1,000 years pleased Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, pleased the Supreme Lord, and the Lord revealed himself before Brahma and empowered Brahma with knowledge of creation. And from there, Brahma became fully empowered to start manifesting the different planets, and different demigods, different sages, different living entities, because he had now become enlightened. So, but to become Brahma, you must be intelligent and you must be pious. So he had those qualities. But then, because he has appeared in the material world, he has taken a material body, some contamination is there, and because of that contamination, he could not realize the Lord immediately. So similarly, we also need to purify ourselves. And the process of purification is that we either perform some austerity to purify the senses, or we engage in Krishna consciousness to purify the soul, or we exercise satisfaction, santustia, to purify the mind, and so on. So these methods are given that a living entity can become purified of the material pollution, material contamination. And when that contamination is removed, then one is eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One is eligible to receive the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what Brahma is demonstrating by this pastime.
Thank you so much. And I think with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Great Srivas Vanachari. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Vyasya, Vasudevaya Krishna,
Paritanam Pramabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo, Namo Namaha. Prabhupada ki jai.
all glories to His Great Srivas Vanachari ki Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai.